us begin by asking the question, why are you watching this? Perhaps you want to learn how to make money from shares. You want to learn the art of transaction timing and how to select the right shares to make the best profit. Or perhaps you just want to become rich. Well, I can tell you that in this life there are only two ways to make money. You either work for it or you get your money to work for you. And nobody has ever become rich by working for a salary. In the history of man, this has never happened. For a very good reason. Your employer will never pay you more than just enough to keep you sitting behind that desk. He would be a bad businessman if he did. So your salary will never do more than just keep up with your immediate needs and wants. But you will never become rich by working for a salary. So what do I mean when I say, get your money to work for you? Well, obviously, first and foremost, I mean that it must beat inflation. If it does not beat inflation, you're going backwards. So what types of investment traditionally beat inflation? For the man in the street, for the ordinary person, there are really two types of investments which consistently beat inflation. And they are property and shares on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. So I want to spend a little time comparing these two investments. Now, I have a number of problems with property. My first problem is that you need great lump sums of capital to invest in the property market. You probably can't even invest in a property with less than 50,000 Rand. And even then, you will be borrowing most of the money that you invest from the bank. In the share market, you can start with as little as 5,000 Rand. So there's a big difference in terms of the amount of money you need to start. My second problem is the dealing costs. To buy into a property and then sell out again, what are we talking here? Probably 10 to 15% depending on who your agent is. In the share market, your turnaround dealing costs, in other words to buy in and sell out, are 2% when you buy in and probably about 1% or 1.5% when you sell out. So a total of 3.5%. So it's a big difference in dealing costs. But probably my real problem with property is that it's very difficult to sell. How quickly can you sell your property? 3 months, if you're lucky. In the share market, I can get on the phone or on the internet and in a few seconds I can be selling my shares. And the money is transferred to my bank account within 5 working days. So that's a big difference. And of course, in the share market, I can sell 20% of my shares. Don't even try to think about selling 20% of a property. It's not worth the effort. So I have a number of problems with property. Of course, when you buy shares, you get paid dividends, isn't that right? When you buy property, you get rent. And of course, rent means tenants. And tenants mean trouble. My share certificates don't phone me up in the middle of the night and ask me to come and fix the toilet. So there are a lot of difficulties with property. Also, property is very difficult to value because the fact that the guy next door can sell his property for R1 million does not mean that your property is worth R1 million because he's got 2 bathrooms and you've only got 1. He's got a swimming pool and you don't have one, and so on. So there's no homogeneity or sameness. But every Anglo-American share is exactly the same as every other Anglo-American share, which means that if Anglo shares are trading in the market today for 250 Rand a share, I can probably get 250 Rand or somewhere close to that for my Anglo-American shares.